Very, very interesting to see what a performance is like in Africa, undisputed #1, but 96 in the world. That tells you where she is really in the scheme of things when you look at table tennis in the world. So she's a bit low on the rankings, but then she's got great potentials as well too.
That's
and I wouldn't be surprised if she goes to Rio and makes a serious impact.
I think, for me, I think she has what it takes to go all the way. Since December, Tayo and Cecilia, she's been in Singapore preparing for the Olympics.
That's it.
Since December.
That's not shortcut.
So she comes back now to the Africa Cup with massive experience. She meets Funke or Edem of Young, and she says, okay, let me just use them to prepare. You know, since December, she's been on that conditioning in Singapore just for the Olympics.
Yep.
You know, and she's been playing a lot of competitions.
Like your pessimistic attitude.
No, it's not. I'm just saying that we need to do the right things. We're wondering why Egypt is doing so well, even North African countries. This is what they do. They have the infrastructure in place. They also give coaching top priority. Dina Meshref's father is the president of the Egyptian Table Tennis Federation.
So what do you expect?
And so you see,
so there's so much.
So you see,
I'm trying to tell you that sometimes, you know, sometimes it's not all about the players alone. You know, when you look at some parents, you know, what they do to their kids to actually get up to a very high level. I mean, when Melissa actually came here in the studio, you know, the father came with her. You know, the father followed her everywhere. I mean, he's the one actually sponsoring and all that. Parents also have a role to play. Now, maybe if Dina, maybe the father wasn't the president of Egyptian Table Tennis Federation, maybe she wouldn't be where she is. But that's still another thing. I mean, that support from, you know, giving that support from the very beginning is also important. I know the Egyptian Federation, of course, they're doing so much to actually help their stars and all that. We can also replicate that. But our players also on their own.
Did you hear what Funke said? Since primary four, even took it to secondary school, that the support was massive. It was even beyond your parents or even the commission. Everyone was involved. She spoke about how she went to Kwara and her school was supportive. You get back to school, they treat you like a star that they know you are. You're repping your school, you know. But these days, nobody's even talking about some particular sports. Nobody is concerned. You know, that's what I'm saying. So take away the fact that Dina Meshref's father is
the parental support is
there is Omar Assar doing so well. There's Nadine El Sharawi doing so well. There's Mohamed Biali doing so well. You know, when they meet our players, they're beating them. They put the right things in place. They brought in Chinese coaches.
Not every time they get to beat them.
I'm just saying that they have the right things in place.
Sometimes they lose to our players top-notch
in Egypt. So they also make sure that they give attention to welfare.
We will get there, Austin.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, you don't get there by saying you will get there.
You need to work.
Okay, we are working towards it. Okay, we are working towards it.
I'm not really seeing a lot of signs because if we're really working towards, you know, attaining that very high, the very top in tennis in Africa or in the world, we won't be talking about uncertainties and surrounding whether a team will actually go to a competition or not.
Because sometimes when I get a release from the federation saying athletes are going here and there, you want to get a confirmation from the NSC also. How about the NSC say we know that these guys are going to Sudan and the NSC they've rolled out this program, that program.
We
don't get to hear anything. At the end of the day, the athletes take themselves to competitions.
It happens most times. It happens sometimes.
Most.
Yeah. It happens most times. It happens sometimes. And sometimes they get to the competition. Sometimes they don't get to go.
Incredible.
Okay. I want to stay with the progress that the Egyptian Table Tennis Federation is making. We'll talk about it. Remember, I'll tell you the bat and ball show. So let's go to Singapore. Dina Meshref is the top female table tennis player in Africa. She'll be joining us now to talk about our preparations for the Olympics and ways we can make table tennis admirable in Africa. Okay, when we get that, we'll actually join our live. Let's talk football now. The League Management Company, they've rolled out the calendar for next season, and it's looking good on paper. I was talking about it last night. Yemi reminded me on paper. It looks good. Yeah. We're waiting for the execution.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Now, I know LMC did a wonderful job last season. I mean, not in terms of welfare anyway. In relation to, you know, fans coming to the stadium more, you know, in relation to clubs actually traveling to a very dangerous zone and getting results and all that. The referee issues and all of them were not there. Then you're not having, you know, clubs having to, you know, travel in peace, play game, and leave and actually leave the stadium, in peace with no fights and everything. So it shows that they've done a lot to actually improve the game. The hooliganism and all that people spoke about, where fans usually encroach the pitch and all, wasn't as frequent as it used to be. Fine, they've done so well, but the issue of welfare will definitely be what they can improve on. So if they cannot improve on welfare, then they should forget about running a league.
And that's why part of the club licensing requirements, they've said that, come on, clubs having outstanding salaries, payments, wages, whatever.
They've said this before. They said it before the season started. They said it when Nduka Rabah was LMC.
After they said that, Taraba FC popped up.
Exactly. He was. I remember there was a time they actually made a rule that you must have 100 million, bond and all that. Then in case you can't pay, they'll use the money to pay. What happened to that? And they couldn't do it. They said, okay, they had a salary scale of 150,000 as a minimum for players. Some clubs came up, the likes of GYFC and some private clubs, and said, hey, we cannot pay. Some who didn't have the 100 million as a bounce to actually start were not allowed to start the league, but they took the LMC to different places, court issues and everything were all coming up, and people were like, okay, allow them to just play the game and all their private ownership. And that they did that. At the end of the day, we are having the issues of clubs not being able to pay salary. I feel if they had actually stood their ground on those issues of GYFC, because Bayelsa at that time, was it Bayelsa Ocean Boys? Nembe City, of course. If they had stood their ground about that, throwing them at, hey, you cannot compete, you cannot meet the requirements, I think by now, maybe we would have had like maybe 10 or 12 clubs, and you won't have the issues of Taraba.
But let's also say big ups to the LMC and those clubs that, stayed with the guidelines. There are some clubs doing so well. I can mention Aimba, I can mention Kano Pillars, but these problems we know abound more with some other clubs. Even 3SC, Warri Wolves, they're still going through all of this. So it's the start of the new season. Tayo, the talk should be, let's not be in a haste to just get it going.
Exactly.
Let's not be in a haste. Let's ensure that it's done properly.
Exactly. That's what I was going to go to next. And February the 21st, for me, if that time comes and the clubs are not ready, then there's no point for the league starting. At all, everything has to be in place. The clubs have to meet the minimum criteria, to participate in it.
That's right.
Professional football league.
I totally agree.
Yeah, that's the deal. So it'll be very interesting to see how the league management company handles this particular situation. When that time comes and the clubs are not ready, they don't meet the minimum requirements to play in the professional league, then the league shouldn't go on. Or if the league is going to go on, then it should go on with the teams that are ready to actually run professional football.
You know what, Tayo Salam? Dina Meshref does not need anybody to say, start getting ready for the Olympics. And she's in Singapore, but she's joining us now on the show. Good morning, Dina, and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Dina Meshref is Africa's top female table tennis player. How are you getting ready for the Olympics?
Actually, right now we're in a training camp in Singapore. This is, of course, part of the preparation to the Olympics, even though it's still a bit early, but I count it as part of the preparation. And we're also going to participate in the Hungarian Open and in the German Open in this month. So this is the start. I don't know the rest of the plan.
The last time I talked to you, Dina, you said you have so much respect for our Nigerian table tennis players. What can you tell us about table tennis in Nigeria?
Yes, of course, I do respect all the Nigerian team, whether the women's team or the men's team. They're all very good players. Especially, Funke and Ofyong, they're very experienced because they're older than us. So, of course, they're very fierce competitors.
Okay, for you, how many players do you have there in Singapore? How many players?
There are about 7 players. 5 from the Singapore national team and other Chinese players that the Singaporean national team got to practice with them.
Okay, now the Africa, of course, the top 16, it's starting next month. How are you preparing for that? Because your name is among the top athletes that will be there for the tournament.
Yeah. Actually, of course, this training camp is part of the preparation also to the top 16, to the Africa's top 16. And after this training camp, we will be participating in the Hungarian Open and the German Open. And only 2 weeks will be left after that for the top 16. So in these 2 weeks, I will be training in Egypt.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dina, for speaking to us on the show, and all the best for your career.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, she's ready. Okay, from that now.
Preparations,
Hungarian Open, German Open, and then she takes that into February, go to Sudan, plays in that one, and then in March she's in Malaysia, and then the Olympics is in August. So you see, count how many games she would have gone through.
Incredible.
Okay.
No shortcut to success when it comes to professional sports, and you've got to do it the right way, and that has to do with preparations.
Okay. Well, from that now, let's just talk about the big one we've been waiting for. It's been 2 years, right? We've been waiting for it, the National Sports Festival. Now, the last National Sports Festival was ECHO 2012, right? Yeah. And this is 2016. And Cross River State have come up to say, okay, they are really ready now to host. Maybe in May, we might just have the National Sports Festival. Let's hear from the Commissioner for Sports of the states.
Having visited the Honorable Minister, he has reaffirmed his commitment to ensure that Cross River goes ahead to host that festival. We are also expected to put a few things on ground. Yes, a few of our projects are well above 80% contribution. Some have been completed. The athletic field today, has been certified and completed. And, we have the swimming pool, the largest swimming pool in Africa today. We have a 10-lane pool that is rated number 9 pool across the world. That goes a long way to make you understand. It wasn't so in the beginning. His Excellency had also expressed his interest to host that festival upon extension. So we've been given extension till about second quarter of 2016 to get a few of our activities, our facilities ready for that festival. And I'd like to assure you that Cross River State, being the hub of tourism in the world today, we have occupied a place of prominence in the tourism map of the world. We expect that this sports festival, which will be hosted by Cross River, will be about the best edition you have ever seen in the history of the National Sports Festival.
Best competition that you've seen ever. Counted the ever, I said. Ever. And I'm just hoping that it's not just talk.
They want to add carnival to it. Make it carnival-like. Cross River, whenever they want to do things, they do it properly. But
just get it done. Just get it done. It's about time. And then it says something about the swimming pool being ranked number 9th in the world. Waiting to see. And then, of course, hopefully, Cross River will get it.
Are you convinced it's going to be heard in me?
It has come and gone. Because I'm just wondering. I'm not the commissioner for it as what's in Cross River. I cannot come out confident.
You just listen to him. Are you convinced?
It's just talk. Let's watch and see. But it's possible. They were supposed to host it, and then it stayed for this long. They should just get it done. Yeah.
Tayo, are you convinced it's going to hold?
No, I don't know what you expect me and Austin to say about that from our studio here in Lagos.
But I'm not part of the organizing committee.
Exactly. We can't really say much other than hope that it happens this time around. It's time to get our athletes, running again and jumping and playing because it's been a long period of inactivity for these lads, and without competition, they can never get better.
Yeah, they can get better because I'm looking at the fact that when most of the states are complaining that they don't have funds, for so many things, you now have to start calling players to camp and start preparing them for a tournament that may or may not hold in May. And this is Olympic year. Where are they going to get that extra money to do that?